Hello, everyone. My name is Angela from Angela Simpson Functional Medicine. Thank you so much for being part of my YouTube channel here. I'm really happy to have you here. And I love talking to females, especially about the changes that you're experiencing as you head towards and transition into menopause. And I'm a functional medicine practitioner that works with females like you all the time to help you discover the root cause of where your hormonal fluctuation symptoms are coming from and how we can get you to the root of them and get the balance back in your body for the long term. So I really want to emphasize that because there is no quick fix to hormone imbalance symptoms, whether you are having regular cycles or you've transitioned into menopause. We have to understand the root cause of where these imbalances have developed in the first place. And I really look forward to sharing that with you topic by topic here in the YouTube group. So thank you again so much for being a member here. Thank you for joining me. And I really look forward to sharing this topic with you today because I think it's one that's so common. And that is anxiety, especially for females as we start to get into our 40s and transition through into menopause, which is typically more in our late 40s, early 50s. And it's very common for women to start to feel more and more as they get into this time period of life. And it can even be like a physical anxiety, like you feel yourself kind of shaking and racy and jittery, hard to focus, hard to function, hard to get through your everyday life at work, not able to maintain healthy relationships with close loved ones, your family, that kind of thing, because you're snappy, you're jumpy, you're on edge. And a lot of this has to do with this anxiety. And many women do report that they feel their anxiety getting worse at certain points in their cycle. Often, very often, it's in that back half of the cycle. So it's the week or two before you're going to get your period if you are still having regular periods. And some women report it's really bad leading up to and even the first couple of days of their cycle. So there's no doubt that this does partially have to do with your hormones shifting and fluctuating and changing as you get into your 40s and beyond. But it's not the only thing that's actually probably disrupting and causing this anxiety. So we want to talk about both of these factors, how they influence each other, and what you could do to take some steps to help you start moving towards optimizing your mood balance, both now and for the long term, regardless of where you're at with your hormone levels as you transition towards menopause, where we know the hormones are going to be getting lower and lower as you get into that transitional time. And so, what do we want to do about the hormones in particular? So what's happening as you get into your 40s and moving towards your 50s is your female sex hormones are lowering, both estrogen and progesterone. Progesterone lowers more quickly than estrogen. And this is sometimes partly why women start to get more anxious. When progesterone levels are at a healthy level and they're more balanced with estrogen, women will tend to feel more calm and balanced with their moods. So it's this little fluctuation and imbalance as the progesterone lowers faster than the estrogen that can trigger some anxiety for women, and for some more so than others. For some women, this can become quite severe. And part of the reason for this can be that their progesterone might be lowering more quickly even than it should be for this time of life. And one of the reasons that can happen most typically is when women are under a lot of stress. And this could be emotional stress, it could be physical stress, it could be just a busyness stress. I know I do find women are kind of in a go time of life. Often when they're in their 40s, it's really go time. And they're working, they're busy with their family, they might be busy with extended family, friends, social activities, lots of things always planned, multiple things on the go. And this definitely can put the body under stress too. And it often can cause an elevation in our primary hormone that actually helps us cope with the stress, and that's cortisol. But what can happen over time is if we're asking for our body to continue to operate under these high levels of stress, we're going to continue to have to produce more and more cortisol basically to keep up with the stress. And often the body can't keep up. So the body's quite clever, and what it will start to do over time is it will start to utilize some of our other hormones to help us produce that cortisol. It sees it as a survival mechanism. And often it will steal progesterone as one of the primary hormones to make cortisol. And so because progesterone's already lowering in this time period of life, especially in our 40s and beyond, it really starts to accelerate. Progesterone can lower too much and too quickly. And this can make women feel more anxious, especially in that back half of their cycle. So the week or 2 weeks leading up to your period, if you're still having regular cycles. So we really want to learn how we can get a handle on our stress. We want to slow down a little bit, make sure you have some strategies in place for buffering that stress, make sure you're exercising, make sure that you have some meditation, some wind down techniques for yourself, either during the day or definitely in the evening before bed. And this is something that can kind of slow down that process and allow your body to not have to be living in overdrive all the time. So I think that's a big part of this anxiety picture, and that is part of the hormonal presentation as to why that could be happening more as you get into your 40s and beyond. And then another aspect to this, which I feel like is very commonly overlooked, is anxiety can also be triggered not just by the hormones, but also by imbalances in our gut health. And over our lifetime, what happens in our bodies, this is natural, happens to everyone, is we do have an accumulation of toxins and a buildup of things that have just come through our bodies over a lifetime, depending on your diet and your lifestyle. If you're eating foods that are potentially a little bit more pro-inflammatory, like sugary sweet foods, treats, that kind of thing, lots of carbohydrates, grains, really high protein diets, high in red meats, things like that. Your inflammation is probably going to be a little bit higher in the gut, especially over a lifetime up to where you are now. And if we have inflammation in the gut that's too high, this is where some of our neurotransmitters are produced, these chemical signalers or messengers that really help us to maintain a calm, balanced mood. They help us actually to really prevent anxiety from happening. And that primary neurotransmitter is serotonin, but it also has to be balanced with dopamine and norepinephrine and epinephrine. So there is ways to check for this. You can do lab testing. I do this with women all the time. There's urine testing we can do to check on these neurotransmitter levels and see if they're out of balance. And quite commonly, it can almost be what I would call a perfect storm. There are imbalances in the gut health, and there are also imbalances in the sex hormones and the cortisol levels all at once. And so this can really cause a lot of this anxiety to develop. So we need to start to understand through proper lab testing, which I as a functional medicine practitioner do all the time with women, where the root of the problem is, and then we can start to understand what to do about it. So, is it more related to your hormones and your stress levels? Is your gut health not in too bad of a shape? Or is it more related to the gut health over time? And this has actually precipitated the hormone imbalance starting in the first place. Or again, is it a combination of the two? So it really does require that you work with a practitioner to help you start to understand this. But what are some of the steps you could take even before you do that? So in regards to your gut health, there's some things you can do right away. And one of them is definitely to make sure that you're drinking enough water on a daily basis. That does help to flush out toxins on a daily basis. And again, we become a little less efficient with this process over time as we age. It's just part of the aging process. So this becomes more important as we get into our 40s, 50s, and beyond. Another thing is to make sure that you are eating a well-balanced diet. You've got lots of vegetables coming in. You've got enough fiber coming in. You're not bringing in a lot of those sweet, sugary, carbohydrate type foods. You're more mindful of this, which will help to keep the balance with inflammation in your body. And this allows your body to produce those neurotransmitters in a more balanced way. So again, these are just some quick tips and things that you could put into action right away. But if you do feel like the anxiety has really gotten the better of you, it's started to take over your life, you're not able to really just regulate and manage on a daily basis, even if you try some of these tips and tricks, I do suggest you reach out to me and book a complimentary consult, because it's something that we can dive into, learn about your health history, learn about the potential root causes of where this anxiety has developed from in the first place. Make sure we do the proper lab testing, and then we can start to put a plan in place to help you start supporting your body so that you can get it back into balance both now and for the long term. And I know that if you are suffering from anxiety, that it's probably not just you that it's probably affecting others around you, others you're living with, could be close loved ones, could be impacting your work and relationships there and your ability to get things done and be efficient. It can really just have quite a negative spin-off in several categories of your life if the anxiety is starting to really get the better of you. So we know that you want to address it, and we know that as well, the root cause is related to gut health and imbalances that way, especially high inflammation, that you could also be at risk for other things developing as well. Definitely often cardiovascular conditions can develop when we have inflammation that's too high for long periods of time, especially for females as they approach menopause and beyond. We know that you could be more prone to developing autoimmune conditions if the inflammation's too high. Possibly also, depending on your genetics and your lifestyle and susceptibility, you could also be at higher risk for things like female cancers. So, we really just want to make sure that we're not just thinking about your current symptoms, but we're also thinking about how can we get your health back on track both now and for the long term, and prevent disease or even put a current disease that you might already know you have into remission so you can really start to live your best life again. So if you feel like this could be you, if you feel like you're interested in learning more, you want to learn how you can connect the dots, get the balance back in your life, Please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to connect with you and find out if it could be a good fit for us to work together to help you optimize your health and wellness again. So you can reach me through my website at www.angelasimpsonfunctionalmedicine.ca. And there is a place there that says book now, and you can book a free complimentary consult. So I look forward to hopefully hearing from you that way. And if not, I look forward to bringing you more and more videos so we can learn more about each other and you can learn how I could help you optimize your health and wellness over the long term. Thank you so much and take care.